Welcome to Law You Should Know. The law affects every aspect of our lives, our home, our jobs, and our recreational activities. Now you can learn about the law and how to protect yourself against the loss of your liberty or property. Learn how to stand up for your rights and seek compensation when you have been wronged. Your host for Law You Should Know is attorney Kenneth J. Landau with the Mineola Law Firm of Shane, Dox, Denisi, and Corker. He's a member of the Committee on Professional Ethics of the Bar Association of Nassau County and counsel to the Nassau Academy of Law. And now, here is your host for Law You Should Know, attorney Kenneth J. Landau.
Hi, this is Ken Landau, and welcome to Law You Should Know. Well, today we're going to have a unique topic, the college myth, and also preventing and being careful with college debt. And my special guest is Gene Kelly, and he's the author of The College Myth, and he's going to tell us why people should think twice before they spend tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars on college, and give alternative things that someone should think about as a way to earn a decent living in today's society. Gene, welcome to Law You Should Know.
Hey, thanks, Ken.
And I should also mention you are the head of Accelerated Technical Training Institute, and you can be reached at instanttradeskills.com. And what was one of the reasons why you wrote this book?
Well, two reasons, really. Number one was I was frustrated in seeing students entering into a lot of debt to try and get a good job, because that's the reason most people go to college. They kind of feel like they're obligated to in today's society, but they go to college with the idea that when I get a degree, I'm going to go leave college and suddenly I will have a good job. Well, we've seen that just isn't the case anymore. What they end up leaving with is a degree 50% of the time, half never get it, and they end up with a lot of debt and no marketable skills. So that was one reason, my frustration of seeing that, having people with degrees, college degrees, sometimes advanced degrees, working in my warehouse because they couldn't find other jobs. And the second reason was I took a different path in life. I went through a trade school, I worked for some people, ended up owning a manufacturing company, went on doing many different things in my career, and became the millionaire next door. So there's an alternate path, and that's really what the discussion is all about. I'm not saying college is bad across the board, not at all. What I am saying is if you're looking for a good job, you need marketable skills, and you need to be aware, and I know you're concerned about this, about the excessive debt that's being pushed on college students today. It's just wrong, and it's not really fully disclosed of how they're going to be carrying that burden for possibly decades, maybe even the rest of their life.
And I think you're saying that people need a plan. They should not just wander into college blindly. They need to really think about their career, their particular major, the cost of going to a particular school, and what it's likely to lead to after graduation if they do graduate.
Absolutely. There's so much peer pressure and societal pressure to move immediately from high school into college without really understanding why you're there, like it's some place to suddenly grow up. Well, maybe 20, 30 years ago when it was cost a small fraction of what it costs today, but now, students are spending at a private university up to $250,000 to get a 4-year degree. And a lot of that is through incurring debt. And we have this, again, our society figured that, everybody needs to be a knowledge worker. Yeah, that's it, a knowledge worker. So they're going to work in a cubicle for the rest of their life. And that's what everybody's going to be trained to. So they quit getting any real skills, any tactile skills, any mechanical skills, anything like that, we need a ton of those folks right now, and we don't have them. And yet they made it easy for them to take on debt. Well, as there was more and more debt available, colleges kept raising their prices. And but that debt that these students are taking on, it's easy to get in, but it's hard to get rid of it. You can't just write it off or get rid of it in a bankruptcy. You need to make sure that the investment you're making in a lifetime's worth of skills is really going to pay off.
And I think also there's a certain amount of peer and societal pressure to go to the fancy, pretty designer college, which is very expensive, versus the cheaper, perhaps, public college.
Absolutely, because, I think that a lot of the community colleges are excellent value. Really, there's three things that an employer wants to know. They want to know, number one, what do you know? Number two, what have you done, experience in life and in work? And number three, most important, what can you do for me? And so when you're doing an interview, those are the three things you really need to come to the table with. What do you really know that's applicable? What have you really done that's applicable? And what can you do for the employer? So if you walk in there with just your piece of paper and you're sitting there saying, wow, I've got a degree from XYZ. Hey, that's great. That might get you an interview, but it might not get you a job. And there's a lot of people that haven't been getting jobs. So if you spend $250,000 or $100,000 or $50,000 to get that, expecting you're magically going to get a job, that's not where it's at. You need real skills.
And part of it also may boil down to supply and demand. If you have a college degree, I mean, there may be plenty of those people like you, while if you are a certified auto mechanic or a plumber or electrician, there may be fewer people with those qualifications.
Well, Ken, since you mentioned that, that is exactly where we're training a lot of people today through the Accelerated Technical Training Institute. And the reason is because not everybody wants to sit and spend their whole life in a cubicle, number one. The knowledge worker jobs went overseas because they can be done over the internet, so you're competing with billions of people, literally, for low dollars. And number three, the United States needs its entire infrastructure rebuilt, and most of the people that know how to do that are graying. They're getting older. They're retiring. I know guys that are 70 and even 80 years old that have been brought back out of retirement just to do, welding and machining work and so on. So you're absolutely right. Having a base set of skills is critical, and that's where I started, and then I went on from there. You don't have to, always be in any one position, but the more skills that you have, the higher, up the ladder you can go, the more opportunities that you see, the more things you can create. It just becomes the whole world's an opportunity is the way I see it.
And I think you were saying before that a 4-year college is not the only way to acquire those marketable skills.
Well, I would challenge not the only way, it might not even be a way, because most of the colleges teach, what they teach are a lot of so I would say soft skills and just not things that are immediately applicable. What we teach through our school, the Accelerated Technical Training Institute, is real skills that are needed. And, so they're welding, machining, plumbing, locksmithing, masonry, carpentry, etc. Things you can get your hands on and do. But more important, what we teach is critical thinking skills and how to analyze systems. And what our students are able to do, and what I found myself able to do once I learned these skills, is to look at a variety of different problems, even unrelated to the trades, but maybe a social problem or a business problem, and be able to break down the system and analyze where in the system something's not working and make that, quote, repair.
And also, once you have those skills, you can use it, if you're so inclined, to start your own business, to be an entrepreneur, to hire other people with those skills and start a successful business.
Well, and think about it. Bill Gates, Zuckerberg, all the, Dell, Michael Dell, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Most of these billionaires, they didn't even complete college. It wasn't, no one's going to there and saying, oh, wait a minute, no, we need to take away all your stock and stock options and your billions because you don't have a degree. Come on. There are more millionaires that are private business owners than there are that work for some company. And and usually those often come from having a set of skills that you can leverage into a business or work up into a business, acquire a business, or just even have the skills without the debt to start building a portfolio, buying houses, buying stocks, whatever it might be, because you're not paying someone else all this money. Our government has allowed people and helped people get into all this student debt because just like during the housing bubble when they said, gee, everybody needs to own a house, if you had a pulse, you could get a loan. Well, the same thing with school loans, student loans. Oh, everybody needs to have a college education. Everybody, come on, take on this debt.
It's really one of the few areas where they don't test creditworthiness. If you're buying a house or you want to qualify for a business loan, you might have to demonstrate you have a business plan or
competency.
Or have a high credit score. But as you said, the government or other lenders will lend you the money because the government is ultimately guaranteeing the debt.
Right, ultimately. But they're not letting anybody off the hook on this.
Oh, no, it doesn't mean you'll get away with it, but the
Nope.
lender or let's say the school will get it, doesn't have to worry about your success. They don't have skin in the game.
Exactly. And yet you do, because unlike the housing, you can't charge off student debt.
And your parents, or if they signed on to it, your parents may also be handicapped by the debt as they get older and need to retire and need money for their own needs.
Absolutely, Ken. A lot of people, a lot of families are deferring retirement because they have to keep working to try and pay either for a student to go through school or to help pay off all that student debt. Now, I know a lot of families like that. I'm suggesting you look at a different route where for a few thousand or a couple, maybe $10,000 or $20,000, you can get training that you can immediately go into the field and start making money
right.
with.
I also do want to suggest for people who do want to go to college or even graduate school, you major in a marketable skill where you've done your research that you're going to learn a skill, whether it's engineering or accounting or something really marketable, and then you've also done your due diligence about the program that the graduates are going to be sought after from that particular program. So I agree with you, but certainly just majoring in something that's not going to lead to a marketable skill is a recipe for disaster.
Absolutely. Know that, Ken, you're right, and I agree with that. And, Ken, once upon a time, I thought I wanted to be a veterinarian. And I went wisely before I tried to get into school, which I probably wouldn't have qualified for anyway. But I went and worked for a vet for a little bit, and I went, holy cow, this is not what I thought it was at all. Now, what if I had gone through 7 years of college saying I had the grades before I even began to work in the field? I would have been trapped in that field the rest of my life, just paying off the debt.
And there's another issue there, and this was in a long article in the New York Times a few months ago about veterinarians, if they went to certain schools, they have problems paying off their debt because a vet, even if they're sought after and enjoying their work, can only earn so much in today's world, and they have tremendous debt depending on the vet program they attended.
So I think a different approach to college is needed. One that maybe you go out and test the world first, learn some skills, get a good job, try different things, and then when it's appropriate, you go to college. And that's why I wrote a book. And I wrote a book called The College Myth. And I am so adamant about this and so fired up about getting this conversation going in this country that I'm giving away copies of the book.
Right.
So
and, Gene, we have to take a short break now. When we come back, I'll let you tell our audience how they can get a free copy of your book, and we'll continue our discussion about the college myth and preventing college debt from controlling you. We're talking with Gene Kelly. He's an entrepreneur. He's also the head of Accelerated Technical Training Institute. And you're listening to Law You Should Know here on WHPC 90.3 FM, the voice of Nassau Community College in Garden City, Long Island, New York, also over the internet at ncc.edu/WHPC. We'll be back in a moment.
Hi, we want to tell you about a program with real appeal. There is a high-quality, low-cost paralegal studies program right here at Nassau Community College.
It can be your major while earning your associate's degree.
Or taken as a certificate program if you already have a 2 or 4 year college degree.
It can be the start of your legal career or a great second career.
It is also a great credential in the business world.
Many of our paralegal graduates go on to 4-year colleges and even law school.
You can complete the certificate program in several months. Paralegals work in private law firms, government, and corporations on Long Island and New York City.
You can start in the summer, fall, and winter, attend full or part-time, days, nights, or weekends.
Our tuition is low and the program is approved by the American Bar Association.
For more information, contact the Paralegal Program at 516-572-7774 or email us at paralegal@ncc.edu.
Once again, we continue with Law You Should Know. From the Mineola Law Firm of Shane, Dox, Denise, Corker, and Sauer, here is attorney Kenneth J. Landau.
Hi, this is Ken Landau, and welcome back to Law You Should Know. We're talking with Gene Kelly. He's the author of the book, The College Myth, about why it's not the best idea for someone to just blanketly attend a 4-year college, especially a private college, unless they're certain they're going to have a marketable skill and be able to repay their loans at the end of the process. And Gene, in a minute, I'm going to let you give out the information on how our listeners can get a free copy of the book. I also do want to mention that there was just a message about the paralegal program here at Nassau Community College, and I think that's one example of a low-cost, high-caliber program that can lead people to a marketable career. And just one example that you don't have to spend a lot of money or a lot of time on acquiring a marketable skill. Gene, I know you're very passionate about the topic, and that's why you wrote the book, The College Myth. And just tell our listeners what the book is about and how they can get a free copy.
Sure, Ken. Thank you. Well, the book, The College Myth, is available free at www.thecollegemyth.com. If you go there, you can download a free copy. If you want to buy a hard copy, it's available through Amazon as well. The other thing that I want, you talked just a moment ago about some local job skills, and there are so many things like that, so many good private institutions. There are some people that try and give private institutions a bad rap, but the fact of the matter is, dollar for dollar invested, more people are going to work immediately after getting a private skill set or a skill set, a true skill set, marketable skill set from a company that is in the business of marketing education because they're highly regulated. You have to deliver for the most part. There's a few bad apples in any orchard, but the public institutions and universities, they aren't held really to the same standard because, gee, you got your degree. But in any case, whether it be private, public, whatever, as we said earlier, you really need to do your due diligence and understand, is there a market for those skills? Am I going to be able to get employed? We're very big in trying to train people in one of the areas that is the largest gap in our country right now, which is in actual physical trade skills, welding, machining, locksmithing, plumbing, electrical, carpentry, masonry. These are things that need to be done here in the United States. They are not going to be exported offshore. In addition to that, there's an interesting phenomena happening right now with the low energy costs that we're getting out of the Midwest. We are actually starting to onboard manufacturing again into the U.S. The problem is, the biggest stumbling block is they can't find enough trained people with basic, trade skills that can do these jobs. So there's literally right now, at any given time, there are literally hundreds of thousands of jobs available in the trades. It's a huge shortage. So.
And as you said, just to go back to the beginning of the program, that some people discourage someone from learning trade skills. They see it as demeaning or not egalitarian. But many people are going to be hurt by automatically going to college or even getting graduate degrees if there's no jobs available that are going to give them enough income to repay back the debt and live a decent life.
Absolutely. And if someone gets a job, a good, well-paying job, not just a paper hat job where they're working in some, easily replaceable business, by having skills, you can move up within that company. You can start your own company. You can save money because you don't have the debt of college and start investing. There's many different opportunities. And even in life, later on, if you went to college after that, got a great job, became the CEO of a major corporation, got money coming out your ears, you still know how to do stuff, which is, I find so many people now don't even know how to handle basic repairs in their home, around their vehicles, etc. I actually had overheard a conversation between my son and his roommate where they were working on something, and the roommate said, "Hey, you got a screwdriver?" And my son said, "Sure. What do you need, a Phillips or a flathead?" And the other guy said, "Well, gee, I really don't know much about that sort of thing." Now, this is an educated kid.
I agree, but keep in mind that also creates more work for the graduates of the trade schools.
Sure does.
But I do want to also caution that the and maybe this is true from your experience, that the college industry, and even the graduate school industry do a tremendous job of advertising and pushing their programs and having people sign up for the programs and signing up for all kinds of loans so they can attend those programs. And it's up to the student to really make sure that it's a good investment of their time and money, because they may graduate with the degree, but they're also going to be stuck with that debt.
That's a fact. And that is the whole point of the college myth.
And it's not just college. It could be a master's degree or a PhD or even a law school degree. Just getting a degree is not automatically a ticket to a sufficiently high-paying job in today's world. If you don't have
marketable skills, you can take your degree, but you better be good at asking, would you like room for cream? Okay? Because that's where a lot of those folks end up in the kind of jobs like that. And we need people in all types of jobs. But why not have something at the end of the day? You made something, you built something, you created something. You have a reason for getting up in the morning to go to work and be excited about it. And you're not, tossing and turning all night having a giant, pile of debt hanging over your head. It limits people people are delaying buying houses, they're delaying getting married, they're delaying having kids, all because of debt they're carrying. This is wrong, and it's going to cause us a huge... it is a crisis now, and I think it's just going to get worse. And
because of the amount of debt has spiraled out of control.
Totally.
And as some people call it the college debt bubble, just as we had a housing bubble a few years ago. It
really is. It's gone up over 2,000% in the last 30 years.
And until the past few years, no one even thought about it. They, as you said, they proceeded blindly into signing up for that college at $50,000 or $60,000 a year, choosing a major that would not give them any chance of paying it back.
Well, and about 4 years ago, I wrote this book and started the process of sounding the bells and banging the drums and trying to make people aware. And now they're starting to come around. I just recently revised the book, and it's out in further distribution. And like I said, I went to the point of just giving it away free because I want the conversation to be happening everywhere. What's best for our students, our kids.
Right, and also, as you mentioned, on one hand, they're going to have massive college debt, but on the other, they're going to be an under or unemployed degree earner. So psychologically, they're not going to feel good about all the time they spent, earning that degree, because it's not going to be worth much.
A lot of them actually end up stunted and stuck on the couch because they don't feel that they can go out and get an entry-level job. And so since this, job that they had in their mind that they thought was going to be offered to them isn't available and they're not qualified for it, they just get stuck, and it's very depressing. And I'm trying to break people free from that. And that's why our trade skills that we teach, virtually via video and online. In fact, if they want to learn about those, they can go to instanttradeskills.com. Learn some trade skills very rapidly. Go get a job. Start building your own little empire, if you will. So that's the message, Ken. We've got to get people to break free of the shackles of society that's saying, "Oh, you must go to college," and instead say, no, what you really need are the skills that are going to enhance your life, whatever direction that is, whether it's college or a trade school or doing something else.
Right. And of course, if you are going to go to college, you've got to make sure you carefully pick your major, that it's going to provide you with a marketable skill, perhaps accounting or something else, or engineering. Mm-hmm. And you've also got to really make sure that you're getting the best bang for your buck and choosing the school carefully. And
graduate quickly, because the average right now is 5.7 years to complete a 4-year degree.
Right. We just have a moment or two left in the program. Just tell us how to get the book for free for our listeners, and just sum up what you think the book will tell them about.
Well, I think the book will help them determine whether or not they want to go to college or take an alternative path. They can get a free copy at www.thecollegemyth.com. thecollegemyth.com. If they want to learn about how to acquire trade skills to get into the trades, they can go to www.instanttradeskills.com. Instanttradeskills.com. And I really wish everybody the best. I want to see people in America achieve their dreams like I have. And that all starts with getting a job that you can do, that you can be proud of, and then building from there.
And for those people who do have student debt, there might be things they can do to maximize the repayment, to refinance, to stretch it out. There might be some type of forgiveness programs, but they should check with a lawyer or accountant who's knowledgeable about those areas. And whatever you've heard on today's show is presented as information only and not as legal or financial advice. But take advantage of the book. Think carefully before you sign up for any kind of training or graduate school, even a trade school, four-year college. Pick a marketable skill and look for the best bang for your buck. And Gene, any final thoughts?
Well, America right now needs people with trade skills, so I'd really encourage them to look into that arena that could give them the bedrock to build a family, to build a future for themselves. And I'd strongly encourage that, and avoid debt as much as you can.
And I think people can also find people in those fields, ask them how they like the jobs, how they got their training, and what they like and don't like about it, and speak to potential employers about what kind of background they like people to have and what sources they like for training.
That's absolutely true.
And just give us...
We've hopefully given people a little bit of an opportunity to pause and think and consider, even if they're halfway through the college process, before they acquire a lot more debt, make sure that they're at least on the right path.
And some people go to a community college first, especially a public community one, as a way of getting a step toward higher education for free without inundating themselves with debt and saving on the cost in the process. And again, every step, hopefully acquiring a marketable skill.
Yep, and I think community colleges are a lot of bang for the very small buck.
And I think the society is starting to encourage that, and society is also encouraging people not to rush in and sign up for all the student debt, and parents and relatives and family to do the same as well, to proceed cautiously. Okay, I'd like to thank our guest, Gene Kelly, and you can get his book by going to thecollegemyth.com for a free download. And please keep in mind, whatever you've heard is for information only. You are listening to Law You Should Know here on 90.3 WHPC, the voice of Nassau Community College in Garden City, Long Island, New York. Please join us next week at the same time for another program on Law You Should Know. And these programs are also available over the internet at nct.edu/WHPC, and a free podcast is available from itunes.ncc.edu.